So the presentation that I'm going to share with you is actually the identical presentation that myself and the Deputy CAO and Carly presented to the Ministry of Education about a week ago. The partnership that we have put forward with Simcoe Muskoka Catholic District School Board, as well as the additional partners on the slide in front of you, is now officially on the capital priority submission list. So we had a meeting with the people that will be reviewing this from the Ministry of Education. They were quite impressed with the submission, and I'll just walk through it quickly so that the community has a better understanding of what exactly is contained within the development. Wasaga Beach, we're growing tremendously fast, going to be doubling in size in the next couple decades. The important element to realize here is that we're growing a lot of children. We're attracting a lot of children in our community. And a lot of that has to do with the type of housing that is being built here. There are obviously many different types of housing, singles, semis, triplexes, fiveplexes, condos, etc. The types of housing typology that generate the most amount of families and the most amount of children are generally single-family homes. This is a photograph of the Elm development on the way into town. We are growing tremendously quick along Sunnydale, and we're also going to be growing tremendously quick out the west end of town. All of that compiled together means that there's going to be a lot more kids in our community. Our goal here is to build a complete community for all of our residents, all age demographics, and that includes having schools so that people don't have to leave our community to pursue education. And that applies to children in elementary school, children in secondary school, but also post-secondary for anyone that wants to pursue post-secondary. We want to provide those opportunities within our own community. Wasaga Beach has the notorious title of being the largest community in Ontario without a high school. We believe that actually is within the entire country. And we're hoping to change that fairly quickly with the help of both school boards. There are approximately 1,000 children that leave our community every day that are bused out to other schools, both in the public, Catholic and French school systems. That is a high school that we are sending out of our community. And our kids are being impacted by that. Spending 177 hours on a bus means approximately 40 minutes to an hour each day riding a bus to and from school. That impacts your ability to engage with your classmates, to participate in extracurricular activities, and really to feel a sense of belonging as part of your school. I mentioned last evening that there is a bit of a derogatory term that is used for our kids. We are referred to as the beach kids in other schools throughout the county. So it's a label that I think is uncomfortable for our children. And if we can deliver and provide educational opportunities here so that they can be part of our community and feel a sense of belonging, I think that benefits everyone. Schools, community hubs are also in every community centers of community life. So when you think about why communities fight so hard to keep schools from closing, the reverse is true. That's why we are fighting so hard to actually have them opened here in our community. Community hubs is something that this council is very familiar with, something that we've been pursuing ever since 2014. When Mayor Smith was mayor between 14 and 18, we had numerous meetings with the then Wynne government and the Minister of Education and Karen Petrie, who was the head of the Community Hubs group that had a direct report into the Premier's office. We learned a lot about community hubs at that point in time. We were told very clearly by that provincial government, if you want to build an arena, you're on your own. If you want to build a community hub, you're on our list. That's how you attract provincial and federal funding. So we were on the list back in 2014. We are now back on the list now for a community hub. The benefit of a community hub is you make more efficient use of land. So for example, we have hundreds of parking spots out as part of the TPAL, the Twin Pad Arena Library. We don't need to build hundreds of parking spots for a school when their peak hours are different. School hours are 8:30 to 3:30, whereas the majority of folks that will use the arena and library are at different peak. So you can actually share quite nicely, and which means you don't have to build as much parking. You can save money. The TPAL is a multi-use facility, there are a range of community uses, and the overall community hub that we're talking about would have a K-12 school, library, arena, daycare, theater, and additional uses. So this just makes sense to group all of these uses together, mitigates capital costs, and allows us to spread the peaks to benefit of our community. The colors are not showing up on this slide, but on the left side of the screen, there's a little red dot called the proposed K-12 school and community hub, which aligns with the site plan that you see in the middle of the screen, which is proposed adjacent to the arena library. This is a very strategic location for our community. It is a 10-minute walk from our main street. It is a 10 to 15-minute walk from our beachfront. It is a 10-minute walk from over 3,000 units being built as Elm, Farsight Homes, Ambria developments. And it is a 10-minute walk from hundreds of units that will come on stream in our downtown as part of intensification and part of intensification on our beachfront. That is a very good news story for multiple reasons. A lot of schools that are built in Simcoe County are really follow more of a rural type format, where they're built out in farmers' fields and kids are bused there or kids are driven to school. If you want to build a healthy community, invest in our kids, build healthy kids, you want to provide options, and particularly active transportation options. So this location for a hub and this location for a K-12 school will enable hundreds of our kids to walk to school. It will allow them to ride a bike. It will allow them to take public transit. There will be some, obviously, that will come by bus or by car, but kids will have options. You can ride a bike from one end of town in Wasaga Beach in not too long a time. I'm old and out of shape, and I can do it in about half an hour from end to end. So young kids that are healthy and in great shape should be able to ride virtually anywhere in our community to attend school. So we think this is a great location as well. There's tremendous economic uplift that can come from schools. Again, look at the town of Elmville and the impact that that high school has, Stainer, the impact of that high school has on small business. Obviously, the youngsters in primary will eat in a cafeteria on site, but high school children, they can go off site during lunch hours and go visit and buy a sub or a slice of pizza, whatever they want. That helps our small business. In addition, every store I go to in town, I see a help wanted sign. There's an opportunity for some of our kids to get after school jobs right in our downtown, which benefits a lot of people. So tremendous spin-offs from this location. As many of you know, our new Twin Pad Arena Library is nearing completion. Grand opening will occur very early in 2024. Sits on 15 acres, 2 NHL-sized arenas, outdoor basketball courts, indoor running track, state-of-the-art library with all the wonderful uses on here. We reached out to both school boards and said, would you be interested in coming and touring this facility? And then after the tour, can we sit down with you and explore opportunities to partner? Catholic Board jumped at the opportunity. We extended the invite on a Tuesday. That Thursday, we were touring staff, senior staff, and trustee. By the following Monday, we had a unanimous resolution from the Catholic Board endorsing pursuing this partnership with us. So they saw the vision, they saw the opportunity here to build something truly special and unique in the county, and they really jumped at it. So we are thankful for their cooperation, and there will be obviously synergies here. They said to us, why would we build a library? You've already built state-of-the-art library. If we can partner with you and work out a shared facilities agreement, that saves us money, and then maybe we could build you something that would benefit your community, which is exactly what we've pursued. In terms of the partnership itself, what we would be looking at, and the detailed agreements will not happen until shortly before the facility would open. But in principle, we would be looking at a shared facility agreement with the library. Myself, Kevin Lalonde, and the mayor met with the library board earlier this week. We understand that this changes the operational model that was being pursued. We've got some time to figure out what that means and the implications of that. It's certainly not unheard of in the province, and we're confident we can collaboratively figure that out. Shared parking so that we can both benefit from investments in parking. The overall parking supply will be increased dramatically so that for hockey tournaments or when the minor hockey comes to town, we have sporting events, concerts, we will have a much larger parking pool without the school board having to invest in hundreds and hundreds of parking spots on their own. Professional grade performance art theater, which I'm going to touch on in a minute, and then the outdoor recreational facilities. So these would be elements that we would contribute. The Simcoe Muskoka Catholic District School Board would be obviously submitting the K-12 school. This is a flexible school. The intention is over time to phase out the elementary component. They have a site within Elm that they would like to pursue ultimately for a standalone elementary school. And then the idea would be subject to numbers that this would be a standalone high school eventually. And it has been designed that way. Tremendous partnerships, and the Deputy CAO has really led the charge on getting MOUs signed with Lakehead University and Canadore College. With respect to Lakehead, we're looking at micro-credential certificates in tourism, hospitality, environmental stewardship. These are things that are within our wheelhouse. How wonderful would it be to actually train folks in the hospitality industry and then have them work in our casino or work in our hotels, work in our restaurants. That's how we support and grow talent within our own community. With respect to Canadore College, this is at the top of the priority list at the provincial level. There is a housing crisis. The province is looking at ways to create new housing. One of the impediments is we don't have enough skilled trades to actually build the housing and meet the targets that have been established. So we'd actually like to train some of those folks in our town. Canadore, that's their business. They are willing to create programs around framing, plumbing, welding, healthcare, childcare. So that's a phenomenal partnership here. We think that partnership will position us very well with the province when they're thinking about where to direct funding. Simcoe County, County Council has endorsed bringing a high school here, has endorsed a community hub in our community. They've also sent a letter of support for bringing childcare here. They have to be careful. They can't get ahead of the Ministry of Education. Usually the Ministry of Education says where we need a childcare. So they absolutely support this. They absolutely want to be here. They just have to be careful what they put in a letter, but they have indicated that they would be very supportive of bringing childcare as part of this community hub. And then Farsight Homes. Farsight Homes has been phenomenal. Robert Chickendance, who we have been working with. Day one, when we approached him with the opportunity, the answer was simply, yes, how do I help you? So he will be contributing land, and I will explain what that means on the next slide. The way the deal would work, the school itself will occupy 6 acres of land. The reason for that is the Catholic Board was looking at building an elementary school. Elementary schools are built on 6 acres of land. High schools require more land than elementary schools. They only have the funding for the 6. So they are prepared to buy the land that the school itself will sit on. The remainder of the land that would make up a traditional high school facility, which includes the sports fields, the running track, the soccer pitch, the football field, Mr. Chickendance is prepared to dedicate those lands to the municipality. So $0 to the municipality. This would be a community facility. The town would actually own the facility, and then there would be a shared facilities arrangement with the school board. So it's a wonderful partnership, and we really thank Mr. Chickendance for his cooperation in working with the school board on this. I won't go through the details of the floor plans, but just so everyone is aware, the rules around submitting schools have changed. This is the first year where you actually had to design your school, you actually had to cost your school and demonstrate that it's shovel ready in order to be eligible for funding. That has caused tremendous workload on all of the school boards to meet the requirements. But we rallied together, and we were able to successfully meet all the criteria, and this package has gone in. The things that I'll note here, the top right, the light green color, that is where the childcare facility would be located that ideally will be run by the County of Simcoe. We heard from our staff this morning in our engagement sessions with staff. Childcare is a big deal, not only for our employees, but for residents at large. So this is something that's desperately needed in our community. There are 3 gymnasiums. When you think about the recreational amenities that we have in our community with this, I believe we would be able, and Director Roos is certainly more knowledgeable than I, but this would stack us up against any community in the area and would allow us to hold tournaments like OFSA basketball, etc. So we would have the ability to use these facilities for special tournaments. The one that I'm truly excited about, and I was almost bursting out of my boots at the budget meeting at the Recplex a week ago when all of the questions were coming at us about, well, what are you doing for arts and culture? What we said to the school board was, we're happy to work with you on a shared facilities agreements for the library. We really need a cultural center. We need a theater for our community. If you could incorporate one in your building, that would save our residents a tremendous amount of money. For us to build a standalone cultural center is probably, 10 to $20 million, depending on how elaborate we go with this. What we are proposing here is that the Ministry of Education would do the capital build. They would pay for the walls of a cultural center. The town's commitment would simply be to add pull-out seats and a theater grade sound system. So for the cost of some seats and a sound system, we get a theater, a 300-seat theater. We've used the model of the Royal Bank Theater at the Living Arts Center in Mississauga. If you haven't been there, we should probably take council on a tour of it. It's a wonderful facility. The acoustics are amazing. It actually allows dance, vocal performances, etc. So the other thing I will note, the three rooms that are just immediately to the north of the purple, which would be the theater, is a dance room, visual arts room, and a music room. So that entire corner of the building is essentially a cultural center for our community, and it would function as such in after school hours, evenings, and weekends. So tremendously excited about that for our community. Second floor, we have vocational schools. The one that I will highlight is the very top, small green there. That's a culinary school. When we first saw the concept for the culinary school, I think the Deputy CAO, our jaws dropped. This is a world-class teaching facility that can, again, train all of the future chefs in our community, but also it can train folks in the evening who just want to take a cooking class. So the totality of this is a tremendous facility for the residents of Wasaga Beach. And then a comment I've been hearing quite a bit about is, well, why Catholic Board? Why didn't you partner with the Public Board? And what does this mean for us? The good news here is the day before this announcement was made public, the Public Board came in and submitted their plans for a pre-con for a high school out in Sunnydale. So what we are seeing, both school boards do their numbers independently. Both school boards have independently said, we have enough growth in this community to support a high school, which is wonderful news. We have been saying that for years. Both school boards are now acknowledging it. Public Board put us number 12, Catholic Board put us number 2. The only reason we are not number 1 on the Catholic Board's list is they have 24 portables at Angus, and they felt it would undermine their credibility if they put us number 1. They wanted to, though. Catholic high schools are open access, meaning you don't have to be Catholic to go to a Catholic school. My kids go to Catholic school. I am not Catholic. So the community should understand if you want to go to this school, you will be able to. The timeline for this is doors open 2027, subject to provincial funding in April. If we get the thumbs up in the funding, we will move quickly to break ground before end of year next year. It's a 2-year build, and then our kids would move in the fall of 2027. The timeline for the public school, we understand, is 2030 or beyond. So ultimately, our residents will have a choice. If this is open 2027 and you want your kids to go here, you can do that. You don't have to be Catholic. If you feel strongly and you want to go to the public system, they will have to travel outside of town until the public school is built. So with that, I'll stop and happy to answer any questions.